Hello and welcome to Nerds in the Morning in the Evening. Admittedly, we kind of waited until the evening to film this week's episode because, well, we were kind of waiting for Matt, and we were actually filming some other stuff earlier. A little bit of a surprise. We were filming a new season of, guess what? YouTube News!
Hooray!
YouTube News is actually now going to be every Sunday on the Rich Albers channel from here until hopefully indefinitely. And
and Matt's in him. Matt's back on the channel.
Matt's in him.
You haven't seen him for a while.
And so now we'll have Nerds in the Morning on Tuesdays and YouTube News on Sundays. And maybe even a few more surprises as the time goes on. You will see. Anyways, let's get this started. This is our special Halloween episode of Nerds in the Morning. So we're going to be talking about things like our favorite Halloween memories, our favorite costumes, and costumes we might want to be at some point in the future. So, without further ado, Matthew Thomas Provencal, thanks for being on the show. What was your favorite costume as a kid?
Well, I gotta go first. No, I'm just kidding. As a kid, I really don't remember a lot of Halloweens. I had a favorite costume as an adult. Does that count too?
Go ahead.
Favorite costume as an adult was actually a few years ago. You guys saw it on our channel. It was actually kind of a half-assed version because it wasn't really done at that point.
I know what you're going to say.
But it was my Clockwork Orange costume from the Halloween YouTube News. I made that costume myself, put it together. Actually, I got all the pieces together myself, so I put it together, and I thought it looked pretty damn good for what it was.
Met all your droogs over at the milk bar.
Yeah, the makeup was really crappy during the YouTube News, but I redid it for a Halloween party I went to, and it looked pretty cool. I was proud of that one. It looked awesome. I still have it. Since then, I've lost some weight, so the pants don't fit me anymore, but that was my favorite costume. That was pretty cool.
Nice. And that was a fun episode of YouTube News, by the way. If you
wrote
haven't
that-
seen it, link in the description below.
We wrote that
was a
in
fun
20
YouTube
minutes
News.
or so, but it was a lot of fun. We did.
Chris, your favorite costume?
It's a little bit cliche, but Luigi, because Richie and I were Mario and Luigi for Halloween way back when we were in high school. And if we hadn't, actually, it was Richie's idea, so I gotta give credit to Richie, because he was like, hey, we should do like a duo costume. What if we did Mario and Luigi? And we did, and well, you guys know the rest.
It would be like a full year and a half after that we finally used them for the first episode of Mario.
Because we made the costumes in October of 2006. And then we also camped out for the Nintendo Wii, not the Wii U, the Wii in those costumes. But anyway, so it's Luigi because that was the most intricate costume I ever made. Because usually I just buy something at Walmart. But Richie actually had us hand pick all the pieces. And anyway, if it weren't for that, we wouldn't have made Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it's true. And with that said, I guess I'm going to probably have to say Mario because that year was an incredibly fun Halloween. And then a couple years later, after the show was started, Chris had a Halloween bonfire at his house where we also dressed up as Mario and Luigi. And all of our friends were there, and it was a really good time. So Mario for me.
Matt was Superman at that costume. Sorry, he was a Superman costume at that party.
So I was technically Clark Kent. I had a suit on. I had a Superman t-shirt underneath it.
But Clark Kent is Superman.
Yeah, but I wasn't Superman itself because I had the suit on and the glasses and all that.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Superman is the person. Kal-El is the person. Clark Kent is the disguise. Anyways, so shut up. So Matt, what's your favorite Halloween memory?
I really don't know. Can you come back to me?
Sure.
I'm serious. I really don't know. Cause
that's fine. Come back to me.
I have to think about this. So.
You think about it.
Yeah,
you think about it. I've got a pretty good one. So when I was a little kid, I was probably 9 or 10. Oh. My buddy and I were trick-or-treating, and we went up to this really scary-looking house, right? The creepiest one in the neighborhood. And there was a giant bowl of candy just sitting outside because they were probably out trick-or-treating or whatever, and they just decided to let the candy outside. And it was the honor system, only take one piece. So there was a sign there that said, take one piece. So my friend and I were like, we'll take one whole bowl. So as I reach out over to grab this giant bowl, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this hand grabs me, and I almost crapped my pants, being 10 years old, because there were 4 guys, and they were basically scarecrows. So they were laying on the ground, and they had straw and stuff, but it looked totally fake. So I thought it was just fake scarecrows. but they were real people in disguise. So I learned my lesson. When they say take one, only take one, and follow the honor system, or scary scarecrows could make you crap your pants almost.
For me, a moment that comes to mind is just when I was like 15, I secretly dressed up as Michael Myers from the Halloween series of horror films, and I ended up scaring the hell out of like all my family members.
They didn't know that you had the costume?
Nobody had any idea that I got the costume, so it was kind of a secret, so that was a lot of fun. So, Matt, do you have a memory you'd like to share with us?
To be honest, like whenever I celebrate Halloween, nothing like super mega awesome memories come out. However, I'll give one just to say an answer. So, it was the same year I had the Clockwork Orange costume actually, because that year I didn't have any plans. So my friends were like, let's go to a party out in the greater Sacramento area, and I'm like, okay, well, do you know the person holding the party? He's like, I don't know anybody there. Let's just go to it. I'm like, okay, so let's go to it, and we went there. It was in someone's house, and it was in this big old barn. Believe it, it was like Scooby Doo, because all the kids go to the barn and they rock out and they were just dancing and stuff. But the best part of that place was all the costumes. There were people with some awesome costumes. There was a guy who looked like Buddy the Elf from Elf, and the costume was legit. There was Jack Skellington. There was any possible costume you could think of was there, and it was really cool. And we were there till like 1, and yeah. I made s'mores. It was really nice.
Cool.
Nom nom nom.
Well, bringing us to our last question for you guys. What is it that you might want to do at some point in the future? Is there a costume that you've always wanted to do, but like you're like, oh, I'm just not sure because it's expensive, or it's hard to create, or something you'd like to be, anything.
I have 2 actually, so I can double my last answer, not being a good one. One, would love to be Spider-Man. I've never been Spider-Man before. Like, it's my childhood superhero. Nice. But I want to walk into a party with like the Amazing Spider-Man movie quality costume and be like
$1,000.
Yeah,
costume.
like a really expensive ass nice costume that shows like all the detail and. It would be nice to walk in there also being in ridiculously good shape, so I can be like, yeah, what up? It's real. Also, I would like to be. This is probably never going to happen, but I would like to be Leonidas from 300, but that requires
a lot of working out.
Bulletproof 6-pack that I will probably never have. So, in my dreams, I would love to be Leonidas or Spider-Man. So,
cool, Chris.
Well, I've always wanted to be Clint Eastwood from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. The full-blown spaghetti western outfit. Problem is, to do it legit, costs a little bit of money. Number 2, he has a very scruffy beard. And if you guys couldn't really tell, out of our entire group of friends, my genetics came with not so good facial hair. You jerks! Making me jealous over here. They're like, look at this manly beard that Chris doesn't have.
If a lot of you probably noticed that I can shave and then grow beards back extremely fast.
I don't have that superpower. So, but I think that later on in my life, maybe 10 years from now,
20 years from now,
that Gino jerk, maybe 20 years from now, those genes will finally kick in, and then I will be Clint Eastwood from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Cool. I know that it's a bit cliche, but I've always wanted to be the Joker, and a lot of people do the Joker. I really wanted to, but I have to lose a lot of weight because you got to be ridiculously skinny, I think, to be a good Joker. Someday I will put that costume together and be an amazing Joker. More in line with the Mark Hamill, 1990s animated series Joker.
For some reason, Richie, when you said this is really cliche, I thought you were going to be like, well, my favorite movie is Jurassic Park, so I want to be the T-Rex.
That would be an impossible costume unless I had Stan Winston Studios build me a suit that I could control, or something. That would just be.
Maybe you should have higher expectations for yourself.
Maybe I'm being realistic. All right.
Maybe you're pessimistic.
I watched that show on Sci-Fi Channel called Heroes of Cosplay. You ever watch that? It's actually really badass. There's a lot of homemade costumes that took people a year and a half to make. I'm thinking what if you put that much effort into a costume and wore it somewhere? Wouldn't it be awesome?
Yeah, people do that all the time.
People do that, yeah.
Anime conventions.
I don't have the patience for that, but that would be really cool.
So, without further ado, we come to our Q&A part, where last week I asked you a question, what was your favorite Pokemon and why? And now I am contractually obligated to answer, or to read your answers, the best answers. So, Chris, could you...
Right.
I would just like to say, mine is Blastoise.
Oh, that's right. Matt wasn't here, so he gets to say his. All right. So, would you like to read off the first one, and then we can just pass it down?
All right. Triple M said, "My favorite Pokemon is Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur is usually thought of as the unpopular choice among the Kanto starters, but I'll always love that little guy. Venusaur was the first Pokemon I ever trained to level 100, and I can't express how satisfactory it is to kill Blue's Charizard with your original starter. Bulbasaur is what got me into Pokemon, and I've been a fan ever since. It's only recently become my favorite, but just something about it really brings me back to my childhood. It makes me happy."
Nice.
Thank you, Triple M.
Venusaur was the first Pokemon card. You know, like when you get a booster pack back in the 90s, you get like one rare card out of all the crappy little ones. Venusaur was the first holographic one I got, so I was like, yeah! And then I got Blastoise, I'm like, oh, this one's cooler, sorry.
Matt, if you could read and say the name.
Okay.
That was a little difficult.
A1 Jory J says, Heracross, that, one word, that son of a bitch is a Bamf. You are not wrong. Oh, you make me sick. Sorry. Oh, you make me sick from poison or you paralyze me. Ha, now I'm 50% stronger. Take that, sucker. Heracross, not a bad choice at all. Actually, Heracross is pretty cool. I'll agree with you.
Cool. All right, next up is Arceus GPG, who says, Mewtwo is my favorite Pokemon, and for good reason too. It's certainly the most human of all the creatures, and its backstory is by far the most compelling. Unlike other Pokemon, it seeks out its own identity, an identity away from humans in the darkest, most inhabitable place possible. And for those of you who saw the Pokemon movie, the first one, that's probably what made that movie so awesome.
That's a deep answer.
Giovanni and Mewtwo, and anyway, great choice. Mewtwo is a fantastic answer.
Just for kicks, you want to watch the Nostalgia Critic rip that movie apart. It's kind of funny.
So, this user should be familiar.
Hey, it's Adam.
This was a little bit of a biased choice.
Adam's Universe.
Universe.
My favorite Pokemon has to be Alakazam. Back in the day, it was a quest to catch the elusive Abra and then trade Kadabra. But in Alakazam, it was worth it. He could demolish everything in Gen 1 and quickly recover if he got hurt. The Psychic type was later balanced with the Dark type and Shadow Ball, but he's still a force to be reckoned with. Besides that, Alakazam's got a cool design and an IQ of 5,000, which makes him more than just some mindless monster. So yeah,
Alakazam has an IQ over 5,000. Interesting.
There was an episode of Pokemon where it was like a 25-foot story Alakazam and 25-foot story Gengar were going at it. It was like a creepy psychic, it was a creepy episode. Anyway, I'll stop talking now. Silver Salami. I'm just kidding. Silver
Salamence.
Sorry.
I apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We filmed a lot
Silver
of YouTube news
Salamence
today.
10
We're tired.
Says, my favorite Pokemon is Magikarp. Why? Because not only does it evolve into such a destructive Pokemon like Gyarados, but Splash is the best Pokemon attack in all of the games. Heck, my favorite trainer in the games is the guy with 6 Magikarps, and I enjoy beating him whilst wearing a shirt that says, I swear to God, when I evolve, I'm going to kill you all. P.S. My favorite Pokemon is actually Salamence. Is that how you say it right? Salamence? But my reasoning for Magikarp is way more awesome. That was hilarious. It's very true. Why does a retarded fish evolve into a giant water dragon? It makes no sense.
All right, and that is actually our last question.
Oh. Well, that brings us to the end of Nerds in the Morning. My question for this week is, what is your favorite Halloween costume and why? It could be a costume that you've worn in the past or a costume you want to wear, but what is it, why, and leave it in the comments below. We'll pick our favorite 5 to read off next week. We are not wearing them, but you can get your Rich Alvarez t-shirts in the description below, districtlines.com/RichAlvarez. And I think that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Thanks to Matthew Thomas
being our guest tonight.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, Zays.